And she was really pretty, Mommy. She had long red hair, and Daddy bought her a sparkly necklace. Emma continued, innocently spooning her pasta as my husband David's face grew increasingly pale. I watched him squirm, pretending to be absorbed in my own dinner, while our 8-year-old daughter unknowingly exposed his secret. Emma, sweetie, you must be mistaken, David stammered, shooting me nervous glances. I was at work all day. No, Daddy, I saw you. When Grace's mom took us to the mall after school, you were at the jewelry store with the pretty lady. I set down my fork, maintaining my composure. David, you've barely touched your dinner. Is everything all right? My name is Catherine, and at 35, I was watching my decade-long marriage unravel over spaghetti and meatballs. But unlike my husband, who was practically sweating through his expensive dress shirt, I wasn't surprised. I'd known about his affair for 2 months. It started with small changes, late nights at the office, mysterious weekend business meetings, and suddenly needing to work out at 8 p.m. Classic signs, really, but the confirmation came from our joint credit card statements, charges at high-end restaurants on nights he claimed to be working, hotel bookings disguised as business expenses, and jewelry store purchases that never made their way to me. Emma, honey, why don't you go play in your room for a bit? David suggested, his voice strained. Daddy needs to talk to Mommy. But I'm not finished with my dinner. Emma protested. It's okay, sweetheart, I said calmly. Finish your dinner. Your father and I can talk later. David shot me a desperate look, but I just smiled and asked Emma about her day at school. He had no idea that while he'd been planning romantic rendezvous with his red-headed mistress, I'd been making plans of my own. 2 months ago, when I first discovered his affair, I contacted the best divorce attorney in the city. Together, we'd been meticulously documenting everything, the suspicious charges, his absences, even hiring a private investigator to gather photographic evidence. I'd opened separate bank accounts, secured copies of all our financial records, and started quietly moving my personal assets out of our joint accounts. The lady called Daddy sweetie too, Emma continued innocently. Just like you do, Mommy, and they were laughing a lot. David abruptly stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. I need some air, he muttered, heading for the back door. David, I called after him, my voice steady. Don't forget you promised to help Emma with her science project tonight. The one about family trees. He froze, hand on the doorknob. The family tree project, due tomorrow, where Emma had to present about her family to her 3rd grade class. The same class that redhead Melissa's daughter attended. The same Melissa who worked as his executive assistant and was now apparently shopping for jewelry with my husband. I'll be back soon, he stammered, practically running out the door. I helped Emma finish her dinner, listening to her chatter about school and friends, including casual mentions of Miss Melissa's daughter, that made the whole picture crystal clear. My daughter had unknowingly been my best source of intelligence over the past months, dropping innocent comments about seeing Daddy at various places with her friend's mom. After tucking Emma into bed, I sat in our home office, reviewing the latest email from my attorney. Everything was in place. Documentation of David's affair, financial records showing his misuse of our joint funds, and evidence of his attempts to hide assets. Tomorrow, he would be served with divorce papers at his office, right in front of his precious Melissa. My phone buzzed with a text from David. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. I smiled, typing back. Of course, honey. By the way, Emma did such a wonderful job on her family tree project. She even included a picture of you and Melissa from the mall today. Her teacher will love it. There was a long pause before my phone started ringing. I let it go to voicemail, instead opening my laptop to finish some work. As the CEO of my own marketing firm, I had built a successful career while David climbed the corporate ladder. He had no idea that I'd already secured my company's assets and documented how he tried to use our joint accounts to fund his affair. The front door burst open 20 minutes later. David rushed in, face flushed and tie askew. Catherine, we need to talk. I looked up from my laptop, the picture of calm. About what, David? About how you've been sleeping with your assistant? About the jewelry you've been buying her with our joint account? Or about how our daughter saw you today and innocently exposed everything at dinner? He stared at me, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. I can explain. Save it for your lawyer, I replied, turning back to my work. You'll be hearing from mine tomorrow morning." The next morning, I went about my routine as if nothing had changed. I made Emma's breakfast, packed her lunch, and drove her to school, all while David watched me nervously from the kitchen, still wearing yesterday's rumpled clothes after spending the night on the couch. "Catherine, please," he tried again as I gathered my work files. "We can work this out. It was a mistake." I checked my watch. 8:45 a.m. Perfect timing. A mistake. I raised an eyebrow. Like the mistake of booking the Ritz-Carlton on our anniversary weekend, but not with me, or the mistake of using our family vacation fund to buy Melissa that tennis bracelet. His face went white. "How did you?" "Oh, David," I smiled, picking up my briefcase. "I know everything, and in about 15 minutes, your entire office will too." I hadn't built my marketing firm from the ground up without learning how to time things perfectly. As I pulled out of our driveway, I received a text from my attorney confirming that his associate was entering David's office building, right on schedule. My phone started ringing immediately after, David probably realizing what was about to happen. I silenced it and continued driving to my office, where my team was preparing for an important client presentation. I had worked too hard to let David's drama affect my professional life. By 10 a.m., my phone was flooded with messages, not just from David, but from his family too. His mother, who had always treated me with thinly veiled disdain, left a voicemail full of tears and accusations. "How could you embarrass our family like this? David is a good man. He made one mistake." One mistake. That's what they all called it. Not the months of lying, not the thousands spent on another woman, not the way he'd smiled at our daughter every day while betraying our family. Just one mistake. My assistant Sarah poked her head into my office. "Your mother-in-law is in the lobby. Should I tell security to escort her out?" I sighed, closing my laptop. "No, I'll handle it." Margaret Davis stood in my lobby, designer handbag clutched tight, face pinched with anger. "How dare you?" she hissed as soon as she saw me. "Serving him with divorce papers at work? In front of everyone? Would you have preferred I did it at your country club?" I asked calmly. "Or maybe during your next family dinner where you spend hours praising David while criticizing my career?" "He told me everything," she continued as if I hadn't spoken. "About how you're always working, how you care more about your company than your family. No wonder he sought comfort elsewhere." I let out a small laugh. "Comfort? Is that what we're calling it?" "Well, Margaret, since David told you everything, did he mention using our joint accounts to fund his affair? Or how about the fact that he tried to access Emma's college fund last week?" That made her pause. David had always been her golden child, the successful son who could do no wrong. He wouldn't. "Check your phone," I suggested. "I'm sure the pictures are already circulating around the office. Your son being served divorce papers while standing next to his mistress. I hear Melissa's husband got his copies this morning too." Margaret sank into one of the lobby chairs, her righteous anger deflating. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "You know what the funny thing is?" I continued, keeping my voice low. "I would have respected him more if he'd just been honest. Instead, he gaslit me for months, made me feel crazy for suspecting anything, all while parading around with Melissa in public, not even caring that his own daughter might see them." "Emma?" Margaret whispered, finally remembering her granddaughter. "How is she?" Confused. Hurt. Wondering why her daddy was buying jewelry for her friend's mom. I straightened my jacket. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run. You should probably check on David. I hear he's not having a great morning." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Someone at David's office had leaked the story to a local business blog. "Senior executives served divorce papers in office romance scandal." Below was a picture of David, papers in hand, standing next to a red-faced Melissa. Margaret looked at her own phone, face crumpling as she read the headline. Without another word, she gathered her belongings and hurried out, likely rushing to damage control for her precious son. I returned to my office, where Sarah was waiting with coffee and a supportive smile. "Your lawyer called," she said. "Apparently, David's trying to access all your joint accounts." "Let him try," I replied, sitting down at my desk. "He'll find them all frozen. Amazing what banks will do when you show them evidence of financial infidelity." The rest of the day passed in a blur of meetings and calls. I focused on work, on my clients, on anything but the drama unfolding across town. By the time I left to pick up Emma from school, I had 3 missed calls from David's lawyer and a text from Melissa herself. A lengthy apology that I deleted without reading. Emma was quiet during the drive home, clutching her family tree project. "Mommy," she finally said as we pulled into our driveway. "Sarah's mom said her daddy did something bad too, and now they don't live together anymore. Is that going to happen to us?" I parked the car, turning to face my daughter. The real fallout was just beginning, and I needed to be ready for it. "Sometimes, sweetie," I said carefully, "grown-ups make choices that change everything. But no matter what happens, I promise you'll always be loved." She nodded, her small face serious. "Can we have pizza for dinner?" I smiled, grateful for the resilience of children. "Yes, we can have pizza. And maybe ice cream too." As we walked into the house, I saw David's car approaching. Time for the next round. But this time, I was ready. I had always been ready. David stood on our doorstep, looking disheveled in his usually immaculate suit. "Catherine, please, just give me 5 minutes." I glanced at Emma, who was already settling in the living room with her homework. 5 minutes. Outside. We stepped onto the porch, maintaining a careful distance between us. The man I'd spent 10 years loving now looked like a stranger, his polished facade crumbling under the weight of his exposed lies. "You've ruined everything," he started, running his hands through his hair. "My reputation, my career. Melissa's husband is threatening to sue the company." I couldn't help but laugh. "I ruined everything." "That's rich, David. Tell me, when exactly did I force you to sleep with your assistant, or make you spend our money on her? Or perhaps I somehow made you lie to our daughter?" "It wasn't like that," he protested. "Things with Melissa just happened. We were working late one night." "Save the cliches," I cut him off. "I'm not interested in your excuses. What I am interested in is discussing custody arrangements and division of assets. Through our lawyers, of course." His face darkened. "You think you're so clever, don't you? Planning all this behind my back, making me look like a fool at work. But you forget, I know things about your company, things that wouldn't look good to your clients." I smiled, pulling out my phone. "You mean like the confidential files you tried to access last week? The ones you thought you could use as leverage? Check your email, David. You'll find a cease and desist letter from my corporate attorney." He stared at me, realization dawning. "You knew. All this time you knew." "I built my company from nothing," I said quietly. "Did you really think I wouldn't protect it? That I wouldn't notice when my own husband tried to steal corporate secrets?" Inside, I could hear Emma talking to someone, probably on the phone with her grandmother. Margaret, no doubt trying to damage control from all angles. "What do you want?" David finally asked, deflating. "Money? The house." "I want what's fair," I replied. "And I want you to be a better father than you've been a husband. Emma deserves that much." As if on cue, our daughter appeared at the door. "Mommy, can we order the pizza now?" "Oh, hi, Daddy." The awkwardness was palpable. David tried to smile, but it looked more like a grimace. "Hi, Princess. How was school?" "Fine," she said, suddenly shy. "We didn't show our family trees today. Teacher said we'll do it tomorrow instead." I saw David flinch, remembering the project that had sparked this whole revelation. "Emma, honey, why don't we go pick which toppings you want? I'll be right there." After she disappeared inside, I turned back to David. "The lawyers will be in touch about a custody schedule. Until then, I suggest you find somewhere else to stay." "This is my house too," he protested weakly. "Actually, I pulled out another document from my pocket. It's not. Remember when you were too busy with work to attend the refinancing meeting last month? I had you sign the quitclaim deed along with all those other papers you didn't bother to read." His face went from red to purple. "You can't do this." "I already did," I replied calmly. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I promised our daughter pizza." As I closed the door on his stunned face, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The past 2 months of careful planning, of maintaining a facade while gathering evidence, had finally paid off. Later that evening, after Emma was asleep, I sat on our back porch with a glass of wine. My phone buzzed with a text from my attorney. David had finally left the property, and his lawyer was reaching out to discuss settlement terms. Another message popped up, this one from Melissa. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." I deleted it without responding. Her guilt wasn't my concern anymore. The next few weeks would be challenging, explaining the situation to Emma, dealing with David's family's attempts at reconciliation, managing the gossip at both our companies. But for the first time in months, I felt at peace with my decisions. My phone rang one last time. Grace, Emma's friend's mother, the one who had been at the mall that fateful day. Catherine? I just wanted you to know, you did the right thing. I saw them that day at the mall, and I couldn't figure out how to tell you. Emma just blurted it out so innocently. Thank you, Grace, I replied. Sometimes our children see things more clearly than we do. As I ended the call, I looked up at the stars, thinking about the future. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but maybe it would be better, stronger, more honest. Inside, Emma's family tree project lay on the kitchen table, waiting to be revised. Tomorrow, she would tell her class a different story about her family. Not the one she planned, but the true one. And sometimes that's the most important story of all.